Hello, hello, and welcome to episode 160 of the Compassion and Cucumbers podcast. I'm Christine.
And I'm Sam.
We are back.
We are.
Thank you so much for everybody being so understanding. We had a little time management issue last week, and
Yeah.
turned out we ran out of time.
Yeah, we messed that up a little bit. But you know what? That'll happen.
Yeah, but hey, we released that fun Am I an Asshat episode. Those are always a good time.
Yeah, you
and
can never go wrong there, really.
Yeah, and people seem to enjoy that episode. So, yeah, we're back. Here's what's coming up on today's show. In our Noteworthy segment, we're going to be talking about the 20 best U.S. cities for vegans.
Nice.
Yeah.
In other words, we're mapping out our next road trip.
Kind of.
Yeah. Our main topic is what happens when we fight against CAFOs and industrialized farming.
But before we get into all of that, here is what we've been up to. And it's kind of a lot since
Oh my gosh, so many things.
it's been a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing I wanted to mention before we go further into what we've been up to is we got some information from a gentleman by the name of Alex Dark, who listened to our Vegandale episode and reached out and wanted to let us know that on top of all of their predatory practices as far as it goes to
Vendors.
the vendors, he said they're also displaying some kind of terrible homophobic tendencies. They hired an artist that was homophobic, that has songs that have homophobic slurs in them. And he said he reached out to them and said, hey, why, maybe you're not aware, but this guy that you hired has said terrible things about the gay community. And he was met with pretty much silence. And, they pretty much told him to go away.
Wow.
So, just another reason for us not to be supporting
Vegandale.
what's going on with Vegandale. If you want to hear everything that Alex had to say, you can look up Alex Dark on his TikTok or Instagram. He has a couple of reels on there where he explains in detail, what went down with him and the Vegandale people. Now, what we've been up to. Well, a couple of weeks ago, Sam had a birthday.
Yeah. Yeah, a few weeks ago, I had a birthday.
Yeah.
And the central part of the celebration was in two sections.
Oh, it was like birthday month.
A little bit, but I mean, not quite a month.
Yeah.
Birthday 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so one of the central things that we did for my birthday is we met up with my brother and our niece, Lucy, and we went bowling. And then we had some dinner at Mad Max.
Gotta love the Mad Max.
Yes, gotta love the Mad Max. So we did that, and we bowled 3 games, and I lost all of them, which was awesome.
I too lost all of them.
Well, you did better than I did, though.
I didn't win.
No.
I didn't win.
You did not win. Owen won them all. My brother Owen.
Did he win the first game?
Yes.
Oh, he did. He came from behind.
Yes. Because he was faking it at the beginning.
Well, he wasn't really faking it, but he hadn't found his stride yet.
I guess.
Once he found his stride, we were
Toast.
We were in trouble.
Toast.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, my brother did, in fact, play in a teen bowling league when we were in high school. So he has a bit more bowling practice than any of the rest of us.
Yeah.
But yeah, he pretty well kicked our butts.
Yeah, he kind of mopped the floor with us. But hey, every one of us at one point or another had a strike.
That's true.
And that is a win in my book. If I can get one strike,
Yeah.
I'm good. I don't care what my score is.
Oh, I completely agree with you.
If I hit pins, I'm good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, I care nothing about my score. It's
Yeah.
it's fun. The whole process of going and watching and doing.
Yeah.
And of course, there's always a bit of trash talking and
Yeah.
things like that. It's just a good time.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. I dropped a ball on my foot.
Yeah, you did.
Right before we started bowling.
Yeah, you did.
Like a moron. I'm like looking for the, different weights of balls, and I was putting this ball back and it didn't go quite into the thing. And so it was falling on the floor, and it was just like a reflex to stick my foot out so that it wouldn't make a big noise. And it landed right on my foot, of course. Anyway, nothing was broken. All is well. It was just a little bruise. I'm fine. Yeah. So that was fun. And then last week, which if you listen to the episode we released last week, you would know that we headed up to Toronto.
Yes, we did.
For a very special reason.
Yes, last Monday night we headed up to Toronto because one of my favorite bands, they are German pagan folk medieval Renaissance band.
Yeah, I mean, everybody likes that, right?
Yeah. I've actually, when I've said that to people, a number of them have just looked at me and gone, yeah, that tracks.
Yeah, that tracks.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
And so anyway, they're called Fawn, and I absolutely love them.
So this was part of the birthday extravaganza.
Yes, I found out that Fawn was doing a North American tour, which is unusual for them.
It's their first North American tour.
Yeah. And so the closest show to us was Toronto. And so off we went up Monday night, spent the day in Toronto on Tuesday, went to the show Tuesday night and came home Wednesday. And the show was spectacular.
They were fabulous. Their musicianship was amazing. They play some crazy instruments. The one guy plays a hurdy-gurdy. Mm-hmm. Another guy plays, he played a couple of lutes. Mm-hmm. The one woman that they had with them was playing long pipes or something. They weren't a lawn pipes, but they were somewhere between a lawn pipes and bagpipes.
Well, I looked on their website because they have a list of what each band member plays. Yeah. And they are referred to as bagpipes. They're just not Scottish bagpipes.
Oh, okay.
So these are probably Germanic or Norse bagpipes.
They don't have the whole row, the whole fleet of pipes coming out of them. They just have like one or two pipes coming out of them.
Yeah, they're a bit simpler.
And they're much more beautiful.
Oh, yes.
They're closer to an Irish
the tone is closer to uilleann pipes, but they're played more like bagpipes.
Yeah.
And so absolutely fantastic. There was a bow harp. There was like multiple types of flute, both amplified and not.
Yeah.
It was just incredible.
A lot of really cool percussion instruments too. Anyway, they were really good. The crowd at this club was obviously fans.
Yeah.
I mean, people came. They were dressed up like Renaissance people. It was really cool. Just
we had
watch.
fairies and witches and satyrs all over the place. It was great.
And there were just, plain old people like me. I was in jeans and a t-shirt. Mm-hmm. But their fan base was so diverse. It was really cool to just see who were these people that were going to see this German pagan medieval folk band. And it was really well attended. They had a great crowd. People knew the music. It was a really good time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was having a blast. I got to dance through the whole concert and like just so fabulous. After they finished the North American tour, they head back over to Europe for an Eastern European tour. And I'm like, we can just hop a plane to Prague, right?
Yeah. So no, Sam just wants to become like
a fawn groupie,
fawn heads, and just travel around the country following this band on tour.
Yes. I actually said that to one of my classes today, and my learning assistant, a wonderful young man named Charles, just looked at me and kind of smirked and shook his head. I'm like, I'm not allowed to do that. And he's like, well, you could, but
we kind of need you here.
Yeah. So the concert was fantastic. And of course, anytime we go to Toronto, we see that as an opportunity to have some really great vegan food.
Absolutely. So the first night we were there, which we often do, we DoorDashed.
Yes.
But we DoorDashed from a restaurant that we have been to. Mm-hmm. Buddha's is the name of the place. And maybe you've been there. It is some of the best vegan Asian takeout.
Yes.
It's so good. And their menu is huge.
Yes.
Lots to choose from. Mm-hmm. What did you get?
I got the General Tso's chicken, in quotes, chicken. So it was soy protein done General Tso's style.
Yeah.
It was absolutely wonderful. The sauce was fantastic. It was spicy with a hint of sweetness, and it was prepared beautifully, kind of crispy but not greasy. And it was great. I loved it.
Yeah, and I had this, it was a seitan steak with noodles, big like fat noodles, and veg with this black bean sauce. Mm-hmm. I don't remember what they call it, but it was delicious. We also got a side of their vegetable fried rice, which was really good. And we each got spring rolls. Yep. And what else?
We got spring rolls.
Didn't we get one other thing? They had these fried dumplings.
Oh, yeah, those were good.
Yeah, those were also good.
Those were very good.
We had way too much food. We brought
did.
some of it home.
We did.
Yeah. But that was really good. And that was the first night we were there.
Mm-hmm.
And then what did we eat on day 2?
Well, day 2 for lunch, because we were pretty lazy on day 2.
And we slept in and kind of had, just kind of enjoyed
The fact that
the hotel room and the fact that we didn't have any place to be.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So nice. So we had a very chill Tuesday morning. And for lunch, we headed right outside of our hotel to a place called Vegaholic.
Yeah. And funny thing is, the night before when we were looking at DoorDash, Sam said she almost chose that as the DoorDash. And it would have been really funny because we didn't realize it's literally right outside.
Yeah, it was a couple 100 feet outside of the entrance of the
So
hotel.
we would have felt really foolish if we had DoorDashed that.
Yes.
The dasher would have been like, really? You can't walk 10 feet beyond your hotel door to go. Anyway, it's just a small kiosk, all vegan. And it's just like vegan fast food.
Yep.
It was really good. I got a little chicken sandwich, which was excellent, and French fries, which were great.
Yep. And I got a burrito or a wrap, they called it, but made with chana patty, so chickpea patty, and some rice and some veg and an absolutely beautiful mango chili kind of sauce going on in there. I was unable to finish my wrap. It was
huge.
Quite a bit bigger than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it was big.
And I knew we were going somewhere fun for dinner, so I didn't want to fill up.
Yeah.
But it was just lovely food. It was simple. It was tasty.
Yeah.
It was relatively inexpensive.
It was. The pricing was good on it.
Pricing was great.
Yeah.
So would definitely recommend Vegaholic. And it's in this cute little area where there are a number of different kiosks. One is a bubble tea place. One is a shawarma place.
Yeah.
So really, really very cute. But in case you're wondering, Vegaholic is right near the entrance, the Bay Street entrance to the Chelsea Hotel.
Yeah. If you ever want to check it out. My chicken sandwich was so cute. It was like, it was almost like a slider.
It was adorable.
And I was glad because Sam said we had dinner reservations at
Planta Yorkville.
Yeah, Planta Yorkville, which was the last Planta that we hadn't tried.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. And we've been to Planta Cochina, R.I.P. Planta Cochina.
R.I.P. Planta Cochina.
Yeah, which was some amazing Mexican-American vegan food. We've been to Planta Queen, which is fantastic.
We adore. Yeah.
And so this time we tried the Planta Yorkville.
Yes.
And what did you order at Planta?
Oh, gosh. What did we have at Planta? So
we ordered the same thing.
We did. And this is really unusual because generally speaking, especially when we go to a new restaurant, we try to order different things.
Right.
But we were just, I don't know, kind of feeling like going in the same direction.
I guess so.
So first things first, we started off by sharing their dragon roll. And
it is one of the best dragon rolls.
It's amazing. We had this before. They also offer it at Planta Queen. And so what it is, it's, a sushi roll, but the inside is tempura broccoli, very lightly tempura broccoli.
Yeah.
And then it's wrapped in seaweed and rice and avocado on the outside. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Really
Textures are phenomenal.
Really good.
Flavor's amazing.
Yeah, you get like the creamy from the avocado and then a little bit of crunch from that broccoli in the middle. Just amazing.
Yes.
Just amazing. Yeah, so that's what we started with. And then I ordered their burger, the Planta burger.
Yes.
And it is a house-made burger. I got it with a side of Greek salad.
Yes,
Caesar.
I did too. Yep,
Side
with Caesar salad.
We both got this. Yeah. The burger, so good.
Yeah.
So good. Now, it's probably lentil-based. I'm guessing it was lentil.
I'm absolutely certain it was a lentil base. Yeah.
And mushroom. I was getting a little bit of mushroom, but it was smoky and chewy, like it had a substantial bite to it and very satisfying as a burger.
Yep.
It was perfection.
It really was.
Yeah.
And lots of great toppings. And it was really nice to have the salad as a side as opposed to fries.
Well, I had fries at lunch. So.
Exactly. You did. And so we didn't need the fries. And the salad was wonderful. And also, I was trying to leave room for dessert because it's rare that we go out and get a vegan dessert. And so I wanted to make sure that we had a little bit of space for that.
Yeah. So what did we have for dessert?
We got the key lime cheesecake.
That's right.
We shared that.
It was good.
It was very good.
Yeah.
Although I will say, still the best Planta dessert we've had was the one that we had at Planta Queen the very first time we went.
I don't even remember what it was. It was some kind of ice cream dish. Oh my gosh. Right?
It had a passion fruit sorbet kind of a thing. And then there was a coconut tuile and a raspberry sauce and it was lemon.
Far more complex.
Like a lemon like foam on it. Like, it was a ridiculously complex and absolutely exquisitely constructed dish.
It was a much more complicated dish than a cheesecake.
Just amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. And we do want to say this one thing. As we were eating the key lime cheesecake, which was absolutely delightful.
It was delicious.
We did say that the cheesecake that we had just 10 days earlier at Strong Hearts
was better.
Yeah,
the Strong Hearts cheesecakes are better.
Yeah.
For sure.
Or at least the slice of Strong Hearts cheesecake we had was better than that particular.
Yeah, it was a one-to-one comparison.
It was a one-to-one comparison.
So, and they were totally different, totally different flavor profiles.
You can't really compare peanut butter and jelly to key lime.
But I was basing that purely on like texture elements and stuff. But it was good.
Oh, it was very good.
It was a delicious cheesecake.
Yes, and I would definitely order it again.
I mean, we ate it.
We certainly did. Without a second thought.
Yeah, we ate it. And then the next day for breakfast.
Oh, but wait.
There's more.
I want to mention one other thing about Planta. Because when we go out to a nice restaurant, I like to have a special drink, but I'm not an alcohol person.
A mocktail.
I like a good mocktail.
Yeah.
And even the mocktails weren't calling to me by their description. And so instead, I just decided to get a passion fruit iced tea. Let me tell you, this might be the single most perfect iced tea I've ever had.
Yeah, I mean, just calling it an iced tea kind of doesn't prepare you for what it really is.
It really doesn't.
It was really good.
It was a beautiful brewed oolong tea.
Yeah.
And I think there had to be just a splash of passion fruit nectar in there because it was so flavorful and it was just so delicious.
It was. Sam, let me taste it. It was really good. Came with a sprig of rosemary and
a little sword with blueberries on it.
Yeah, blueberries,
which was really nice.
Yeah. And they had on their like seasonal drink menu, they had an autumn old fashioned, and that's what I got. And it was really good.
What was the flavor profile?
Kind of pumpkin spicy.
Nice.
Yeah, with then with the orange twist, it was really good.
Cool.
Yeah, it was good. I like a good old fashioned every once in a while.
Yeah.
So then we went to the concert. We told you about that. That was fabulous. And then the next morning we got up and we had made a reservation for breakfast at Aviva.
Yes.
Which is not a 100% vegan restaurant.
It is not.
But they have a separate vegan menu. And it's unusual to find an entire breakfast menu of vegan food.
Oh, yeah. And their vegan menu is extensive. This isn't just a few items within an omnivore menu.
No, it's an entire menu. It's an entire section of the menu.
It's really quite incredible.
Yeah.
And so we first visited an Aviva a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And it was outside the center of Toronto.
Yes.
And this one is right in the center of Toronto. It was, just about a half mile from our hotel. And so we walked there on Wednesday morning and got an absolutely beautiful breakfast.
Yeah, I got the what do they call it? Kind of like the vegan big breakfast.
Yeah, it was kind of like the vegan slam or something
like
that. You know how Denny's calls it the grand slam?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was called, the vegan slam.
Okay.
And it came with scrambled just egg, a vegan bacon, a sausage patty, a vegan sausage patty, home fries, and
salad.
And a little bit of salad and toast.
Yes.
It was perfect.
It was beautiful. And the scrambled eggs were scrambled with onions and spinach.
Yeah.
So there was a bit of veg there.
Yeah.
And then you had the small salad.
Oh, you got the slam too?
I did. Oh. The only difference between
Copycat.
our orders is that you got whole wheat toast and I got rye toast.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah, you got marble rye.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm sorry. Rye is just the best toast.
Yes, but they also, and last time we went, they also do several eggs Benedicts, and they do a runny vegan poached egg, which is really good. But I wanted to try something different.
Yep.
I really just wanted that big. I was starving. I wanted that big breakfast, and it was very satisfying.
It was just fantastic. I mean, I didn't even manage to finish my home fries.
You didn't.
I didn't.
And I didn't finish them for her, which is unusual. Because when it comes to potatoes,
Yeah.
I like me some potatoes.
Indeed.
Anyway, that was so much fun. We had a great time in Toronto. We
always do.
back stateside.
Yep.
Talking at you. We don't have a recipe this week because of all that jazz happening.
Yeah.
So should we just jump into our Noteworthy segment?
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Let's talk about the 20 best U.S. cities for us vegans, shall we?
Sure, let's do it. So, WellHub has unveiled its 2024 rankings of the top cities for vegans and vegetarians in the U.S. Now, Portland, Oregon has been at the top of that list for quite some time, but it is no longer.
What's up with that, Portland?
The new vegan capital of the United States is, and I have to say I'm not surprised by this.
No surprise, but drum roll.
Los Angeles, California.
Yeah, not surprising. Not surprising at all.
Yes. So plant-based travelers, put Los Angeles at the top of your bucket list. The destination has just been crowned the best city for vegans and vegetarians in the United States in 2024, according to research from the financial website WalletHub. It dethroned Portland, Oregon, which held the title for 5 consecutive years. The city is a haven for plant-based cuisine, featuring an impressive lineup of vegan restaurants like Crossroads Kitchen, Gracias Madre, and Cafe Gratitude. Whether you're craving ramen, tacos, or classic comfort food, you can find a vegan version of just about any dish in this city. Beyond dining, Los Angeles also hosts a variety of events for vegans, including the Vegan Exchange, Vegan Playground, and the Vegan Street Fair. And I have to say, Vegan Street Fair is on my bucket list.
Yeah, are they talking about the big one that happens once a year? Because I know there's also like a vegan thing that happens like every other weekend.
I'm not sure which one they're talking about.
I'm not
but
either.
Both of those are on my bucket list.
Yeah, I know that vegans that live in the Los Angeles area are so spoiled. When they go anywhere else, they think it's like a vegan wasteland.
Yeah,
For
sure.
So good for them. Good for Los Angeles for being number one. And
Go
good,
LA.
And good for all the vegans that live there. Make sure you're supporting those vegan restaurants everywhere that you live.
Mm-hmm. How did WalletHub come up with this list?
I don't know.
To identify the top cities for vegans and vegetarians, the researchers at WalletHub analyzed 17 key metrics of vegan and vegetarian friendliness in the country's 100 largest cities. This included data on the cost of vegetarian groceries, availability of affordable vegan and vegetarian options at well-rated restaurants, whether the city offered a vegan or vegetarian festival, accessibility of fresh vegetarian food, and number of vegetarian cooking classes per capita.
Interesting.
Based on this data, each city could earn a maximum of 100 points. Los Angeles emerged as the most vegetarian and vegan-friendly city with a total score of 61.26.
Wow, that's pretty good.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
The researchers noted that the City of Angels had the second highest number of affordable restaurants with vegan and vegetarian dishes that have earned at least a 4.5-star rating on Yelp. It also earned points for having an abundance of farmers markets, organic farms, vegetarian cooking classes, and vegan festivals. Hot on the heels of Los Angeles is
Orlando, Florida.
That's right. Orlando jumped to second place after ranking as the third best city for vegans and vegetarians in 2023. It scored 60.60 points in WalletHub's analysis.
Yeah, really close.
Thanks to its high quantity of juice and smoothie bars, salad shops, and vegetable nurseries.
Really?
Yeah.
It was the juice and smoothie shops that did it.
There you go. The researchers also found that Orlando had a surprisingly low cost of vegetarian groceries and a decent share of restaurants with vegan and vegetarian options.
It's not surprising that these are climates where produce can be produced year-round. Yeah. So that would bring down the cost of vegan groceries in general, right?
Yeah. Now, in the third spot is Portland, Oregon. So while Portland has been unseated from the top spot, the City of Roses remains a strong contender in third place with a total score of 59.63 points. Wallet Hub's research team noted that Portland residents order vegan and vegetarian food 148% more frequently than the U.S. average.
Wow, that's an impressive figure.
That is so cool.
148% more?
Yes.
Wow.
The city has a high percentage of people who eat veggies every day and the fourth largest number of well-rated restaurants with affordable meat-free dishes. Beyond ranking the top cities for vegans and vegetarians, the report uncovered additional insights that can guide plant-based travelers to great destinations. Don't overlook Scottsdale, Arizona. While it was ranked as the 26th best city for vegans and vegetarians, it boasts the highest percentage of restaurants serving vegetarian options, tying with Anchorage, Alaska, and St. Petersburg, Florida.
Anchorage, Alaska?
Who would have thought?
Not me.
Me either. It also shares the top spot for the highest percentage of restaurants offering vegan options, once again tied with St. Petersburg and Washington, D.C.
Interesting.
If fresh greens are your jam, you can't go wrong with a trip to Miami, Florida, Atlanta, Georgia, Orlando, Florida, San Francisco, California, or Las Vegas, Nevada. They all tied for first place for having the most number of salad shops per capita of the 100 largest cities in the U.S.
And while we're speaking of some of those southern states, I did want to say,
yes,
our hearts go out in a huge way to everyone affected by Hurricane Helene. And there's actually another one bearing down on Florida as we speak.
Yes, there is.
I'm going to include some links in the show notes, not to, change the subject at all, but I'm going to include some links in the show notes of ways that you can help.
Yes.
I did receive a couple of links to reputable
organizations,
places that you can donate to. I've been watching some of the footage coming out of the Carolinas and parts of Florida. It is heartbreaking.
Yes, it is. It's horrific.
Heartbreaking. People have lost everything. People can't get out. So I just wanted to mention that before we go on any further, because I meant to mention it at the top of the show. Back to the 20 vegan cities.
World Vegan Day is coming up on November 1st.
That's right.
That's right. And so in honor of that, we're going to give you the list, the full list of the 20 top cities for vegans and vegetarians. So we already know in the top spot we have Los Angeles, California. Number 2 is Orlando, Florida. And number 3 is Portland, Oregon. From there, number 4 is San Diego, California.
San Diego. Go San Diego.
Number 5, Seattle, Washington.
Not surprised.
No, not at all. Number 6, Austin, Texas. That's big on my list. I've heard great things about the city of Austin.
Yeah, Austin, Texas is like kind of an anomaly in the state of Texas. There's a lot of cultural things to do. There's a big arts community there. There's a huge music community there, and apparently lots of good vegan food.
Yeah,
so
seriously. Number 7, San Francisco, California. Number 8, Miami, Florida. Number 9, Phoenix, Arizona. Number 10, Tampa, Florida.
Come on, Florida.
Yeah, Florida. Number 11, New York, New York.
Now, you would think New York would be higher up on that list.
I would too, although I have to say that probably the cost of vegan and vegetarian groceries is what's keeping it down.
Yeah, it's their criteria that's keeping New York down.
Because if we're talking about number of vegan restaurants, and let's also talk about the affordability of those vegan restaurants.
Right.
I mean, let's be real.
Yeah.
New York is expensive.
Everything's expensive in New York.
Yes. And so therefore, I have a feeling that that's one of the things that's keeping them a little bit lower on the list.
Keeping them down.
Because there are tons of options, but they're not all incredibly affordable.
No.
Number 12, Washington, D.C. Number 13, Oakland, California. 14, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Vegas, baby.
Number 15, Chicago, Illinois.
Yeah, I've heard great things about the vegan community in Chicago.
Yeah, we have to get out there at some point. Number 16, Atlanta, Georgia. Number 17, Madison, Wisconsin.
Go figure.
Yeah.
Madison, Wisconsin.
Seriously. We're going to have to check that out too.
Yeah.
Number 18, Houston, Texas. Number 19, Sacramento, California. And number 20, San Antonio, Texas.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm not surprised that there are a lot of warmer climate places on this list if their criteria is including affordability.
Yes, affordability and availability of fresh fruit and vegetables.
Yeah.
Of course, that's going to be a bit easier in warmer climates.
Yeah. Yeah. And we should mention that this article and information came from Forbes from their lifestyle and travel section. So thank you, Forbes. And now to move on to something a little bit more serious, it's time for our main topic. In this week's main topic, we're going to be talking about what happens when we fight CAFOs and industrialized farming. So we're going to be talking about a few articles that we're going to be referencing concerning the effects of CAFOs and industrialized farming on communities and what happens when people try to fight those effects.
Yes.
So the first article that we're going to be referencing comes to us from the Daily Yonder.
The lower Yakima Valley in Washington state has been home to large-scale animal agriculture for decades. But in 2008, when one dairy operation tried moving into the Yakima Indian Reservation, the community balked at the proposition. The dairies at that time were very bad neighbors, said Jean Mendoza, a resident of the Yakima Reservation. The community wanted to avoid the issues they'd heard about in Sunnyside, a small town about 50 miles east of the Yakima Reservation. There was one family that had built an outdoor swimming pool for their grandchildren to enjoy, and one of the dairies came in and built a manure lagoon right next to the swimming pool. The smell from the lagoon made it impossible to enjoy their backyard. The lagoons, which are huge pits of animal waste mixed with water, were one of the reasons Mendoza started organizing against the establishment of concentrated animal feedlots near her home. She later became the executive director of the nonprofit Friends of Toppenish Creek, which advocates for improved oversight of industrial agriculture. Discharge from these lagoons into groundwater caused nitrate levels to skyrocket in the drinking water of small towns in the lower Yakima Valley, where many residents get their water from private wells. Serious health effects like cancer and blue baby syndrome, a life-threatening condition that causes low oxygen levels in infants' blood, can occur when nitrate levels exceed 10 milligrams per liter, the maximum contaminant level set by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. Despite the health risks, regulating this pollution isn't easy. Loopholes within drinking water laws and the agriculture lobby's influence in Congress have prevented substantive policy reform to address the issue, according to food safety experts. That lobby has consistently asked for and gotten policies that favor the large and the higher tech and the consolidation and therefore corporate control of agriculture, said Amy Van Son, a senior attorney for the Center for Food Safety. A 2024 report from the Union for Concerned Scientists showed big agribusiness and other food interest groups spent $523 million on Farm Bill lobbying between 2019 and 2023, more than what the lobbies for the oil and gas industry and defense sector spent during that time.
That's a mind-blowing figure.
It really is.
$523 million. Not only is that figure mind-blowing, but that they're spending more money than the lobbyers that are lobbying for oil and gas and defense spending?
Yeah.
Holy cow, literally.
Yes, literally. Agriculture has become one of the most consolidated industries in the country. Across the board, farms have been merged into just a few big companies that control most food sectors. The dairy industry is no stranger to this. Between 2002 and 2019, the number of licensed dairy herds in the U.S. dropped by half, but milk production increased, according to USDA data. This suggests that small farms are disappearing in place of concentrated animal feedlots operated by large corporations like Land O'Lakes and Dairy Farmers of America. As the number of animals stuffed onto corporate farms increases, so has the amount of waste. and that waste is kept in manure lagoons that are built to leak, according to Adam Voskel, a staff attorney for Midwest Environmental Advocates. Regardless of whether a manure lagoon is earthen-lined or clay-lined or concrete-lined, there is some acceptable amount of discharge directly to the groundwater. As dairy operations have become more consolidated in the lower Yakima Valley, it's made it harder for grassroots organizers like Mendoza to advocate for drinking water regulation. It removes decision-making from the ground level and sends it up the corporate ladder, and makes it harder for neighbors, makes it harder for friends of Toppenish Creek to demand a change, she said. While Mendoza's organization successfully stopped the 2008 dairy operation from moving on to the Yakima Reservation, they've had their work cut out for them because of seepage from other manure lagoons. In June of 2024, the EPA sued 3 of the area's dairy operations for failing to comply with a 2013 legal agreement that they reduce nitrate leakage and protect the drinking water of nearby residents. But it's difficult to implement effective regulation because water pollution is technically legal under 2 major laws, the Clean Water Act and the Safe Drinking Water Act. Okay, can I stop there for a second and just say, how do bills or laws titled the Clean Water Act and the Safe Drinking Act make water pollution legal?
Right. Yeah, I think their names are deceptive.
I'm thinking you're right.
Yeah.
The Clean Water Act is the main apparatus used to protect the United States surface water. While its purpose is to prohibit the discharge of pollutants, the EPA's National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System issues permits that allow exceptions to this rule. Most activities associated with farming, ranching, and forestry can be exempted from the Clean Water Act if the operator obtains a permit to pollute.
Unbelievable. Legal polluting.
The law directly regulates point sources of pollution, which is when there is a clear source of waste discharge, like from a pipe, well, or even a manure lagoon from a concentrated animal feeding operation. But for non-point sources of pollution, the law relies on voluntary efforts to control pollutants from various sources that accumulate through runoff. A primary cause of these non-point sources is runoff from nitrogen fertilizer on cropland. So this is taking all of that waste that is in the manure lagoons, spraying them on crop fields.
Right, and that's how they get around the law.
And that's how they get around the law.
Exactly.
This voluntary approach means the EPA and states don't have the authority to require that landowners reduce runoff, according to a report from the Environmental Integrity Project. This leaves the work to advocacy organizations. It seems like it has fallen to environmental and clean water and agricultural advocacy organizations to raise awareness and make sure people are protected, said Lee Curry, the chief legal officer for the Minnesota Center for Environmental Advocacy.
So in other words, the laws that are there meant to protect our waterways and people's drinking water and surface water from being polluted are not doing that at all.
No.
They're not protecting the water or the people that have to consume the water at all.
Because of loopholes written into the law.
Yep.
For these very organizations.
Exactly.
These very industries.
Exactly. Frustrating.
Very.
This article goes on to talk about how all these nitrates and all of this pollution goes to affect people's well water and drinking water. And we've spoken about that in the past. It's just so incredibly frustrating that our government is basically giving the go-ahead to animal agriculture to just go ahead. Pollute the air, pollute the ground, pollute the water. Go ahead. We'll put a loophole in every single environmental protection law that we pass.
Yes.
And the worst that seems to be happening is possibly a fine, which means nothing.
No,
to
not
these
to
organizations.
These huge corporations.
No,
doesn't mean anything at all.
They're a literal drop in the bucket for them to be fined. When, on the flip side, they are ruining people's lives. They're ruining their health. They're ruining their way of life.
Yes. And so I think that we definitely need to take a look at the fact that the only real way to affect any substantive change in this area is to impose stronger regulations
Absolutely.
on these corporations.
Yeah. It shouldn't be up to environmental advocates
No.
to make sure that this isn't happening.
Food safety experts say solving America's nitrate pollution problem will require stronger regulation of the biggest players in the agriculture industry. This industry has been able to externalize so much of their costs so that it's an artificially cheap product for the consumer. The federal government provides farmers subsidies to protect them from fluctuating revenue year by year. But data from the Nonpartisan Environmental Working Group shows that 78% of subsidies were given to the largest 10% of farm operations between 1995 and 2021.
We've spoken about this before, that these large CAFOs are basically receiving government welfare.
Yes.
And a lot of times fraudulently.
Yes.
Especially when you look at cases that will be coming into the news now in the Carolinas, where some of the largest pig farms and other forms of animal agriculture exist, they will be subsidized. They will take that loss and be subsidized for all of those lives lost.
Yes.
It's so frustrating.
But what this also means is that the top 10% of farm operations are essentially forming monopolies.
Oh, yeah.
That mean small and mid-sized farmers are receiving fewer benefits, and that makes it harder for them to stay in the game.
Right.
Which means then the big corporations can come in, buy them out, make their operations larger for what will seem to them as almost no expense.
Yeah, and that is, like that article says, there are fewer herds, but we're producing more milk than we've ever produced in the past.
Yes.
So that is exactly what's happening.
Now, some bills have been proposed to address the squeeze of big agriculture, but there hasn't been substantial progress made on the issue. New Jersey Senator Cory Booker's Farm System Reform Act of 2023 proposed a moratorium on CAFOs, expanded country of origin labeling, and increased competition and transparency in livestock, poultry, and meat markets. The bill was first introduced in 2019 and reintroduced in 2021 and 2023, but all three times it languished in committee.
That bill will languish in committee forever.
You're likely right about that.
Contact your representative and tell them about this bill and what you feel about it, because they just keep pushing it to the bottom of the pile.
Yes. And so any reform that we are seeing are really coming more from local efforts, like the community organizing in the lower Yakima Valley that led to the 2024 lawsuit against 3 dairy farms.
There was also some people in Wisconsin that are trying to limit CAFOs and CAFO growth in their communities. And there's an article about how Big Dairy is fighting back against them. And this article comes from Investigate Midwest.
Miranda Porter's new home in Ledgeview, Wisconsin seemed like the perfect fit for her family of 4 children. The growing suburb outside Green Bay was a tight-knit community with nearby land for her kids to explore and space for a large garden. Then there was a knock on the door. A few days after moving in, concerned neighbors informed her that Ledgeview Farms, a large dairy farm behind her home, was planning to expand, which included building a manure pit to store millions of gallons of waste next to the subdivision. Over the next several years, Porter began noticing manure runoff in the creek her kids would play in. Originally from rural South Dakota, she had been around farming her whole life, but this felt different. We don't even want to think about health consequences because it's out of our control unless we were to pick up and move away, she said. But at this point, it's just not feasible for us to do that. Residents, including Porter, openly complained about the farm's operations and the risk associated with a waste pit near their homes. The town denied the farm's permit application, saying the expansion would violate a newly updated town ordinance. In late 2023, The farm responded with a lawsuit against the town. The legal fight between the large dairy farm and the city government is an example of a growing trend in the nation's dairy land. As Wisconsin dairy farms get bigger and municipal and state governments impose new restrictions in response, the dairy industry is increasingly fighting back through the court system. Many of the dairy farms that have sued municipal and state governments are represented by Michael Best and Friedrich, LLP, a national law firm that helped craft state statutes to weaken local control over agriculture.
They're bad. We don't like them.
No. Since 2018, large Wisconsin dairy farms have filed 13 lawsuits against municipal and state governments, according to an Investigate Midwest analysis of court records and state permitting data for concentrated animal feeding operations, or CAFOs. Dairy farms with roughly 700 or more milking cows are considered CAFOs, requiring a Wisconsin Pollutant Discharge Elimination System permit. The trend does seem to be moving up, particularly for CAFOs and state agency-based litigation. The local municipality-based litigation tends to rise as well, said Adam Voskel, a staff attorney at the environmental law firm Midwest Environmental Advocates. He does not represent either party in the Ledgeview Farms lawsuit. As data comes out that shows the effects of CAFOs on groundwater contamination, local governments and the state government start responding with the authority they've been given. While the overall number of Wisconsin dairy farms has declined by nearly 2/3 over the past 20 years, the farms that remain have grown bigger. The state's dairy industry is estimated to be worth nearly $46 billion, according to University of Wisconsin-Madison research. Most of Wisconsin's dairy is used to make cheese. Demand for dairy products overall, both United States domestic and export demand, continues to grow, said Charles Nicholson, an agriculture and economics professor at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Larger farms mean more cattle. More cattle means more waste and runoff problems for nearby communities, especially in areas of population growth. Livestock waste runoff has been linked to various public health problems such as cancers, infant deaths, and miscarriages. In its lawsuit over the town's permit rejection, Ledgeview Farms claimed it had a right to farm and to use its facilities as it was before the town's ordinance changed. Farm owner Jason Pansier declined an interview with Investigate Midwest, as did his attorney. Ledgeview attorney Larry Konopacki said the town has a responsibility to protect various and sometimes competing interests, such as the growth of a large dairy farm and the growth of a residential area. Frankly, we have very limited tools to use because in Wisconsin we're a very pro-ag state, he said. In 2017, Ledgeview Farms applied to build a new manure pit that would hold upwards of 13 million gallons of waste, a move that would allow the farm to increase its herd size. Porter and her neighbors were worried about the impact of increased waste near homes and bodies of water. Even then Green Bay Packers head coach Mike McCarthy, who lived in the area, expressed concern. The once predominantly rural town of Ledgeview had become a hotbed for suburban cul-de-sacs and housing developments. The town's population increased by 1/3 from 2010 to 2020, topping 8,800, according to U.S. Census data. The 5-county region also had the largest share of CAFOs in the state. The buffer between residential neighborhoods and industrial dairy farms was shrinking. The town board denied Ledgeview Farms' permit application to build a new manure pit.
Yay!
The state's livestock sitting review board, circuit court, and court of appeals all sided with the town's decision to deny the permit. The farm appealed to the state Supreme Court, which declined to hear the case.
Thank you.
In 2021, the farm opened a manure pit in the neighboring town of Glenmore, where it now transports some of its Ledgeview waste. Glenmore zoning administrator Ben Schauer said the pit is in operation and can hold upwards of 20 million gallons of manure. In addition to denying the permit, the town of Ledgeview ordered the farm to maintain its herd at or below 1,000 animal units and to bring the farm operations into full compliance with state and federal law.
Well, there's a case where some local lawmakers are trying to do the right thing.
Absolutely. But herd size has been a contentious issue for the farm. During the permitting process for the manure pit application, Ledgeview Farms declined to provide the town with its herd numbers. In response, the town received a warrant for town inspectors, accompanied by the county sheriff's office, to carry out an inspection. But the farm's owners refused to let town officials take a head count, according to a town memo obtained by Investigate Midwest. While refusal to comply with the warrant could have led to an arrest, town officials eventually asked the sheriff to leave without making any arrests.
That's not good. Arrest them.
In a recent wastewater permit application to the state, Ledgeview Farms said it had just under 2,000 cattle, with plans to have more than 3,000 within 5 years, according to records from the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. The Wisconsin DNR declined to comment on legal cases between dairy farms and local municipalities. In its most recent lawsuit, Ledgeview Farms argued they should be allowed to operate as they currently do because their large freestall barn was built before the town's ordinance reducing the cap on herd sizes. Prior to 2017, the Pansiers had in place facilities that allowed them to have, and in fact did have, several thousand cows in their facilities. Town attorneys argued in July that the judge should throw out the lawsuit on the basis that they were operating illegally prior to the 2017 ordinance. The record demonstrates that this is a bad-acting farm, said Ledgeview attorney Matthew Fisher. They've violated basically every environmental state and federal rule. It's not surprising that the town wants to stop these violations. Neighbors of the farm have seen the violations firsthand. Porter said she's witnessed overspreading of manure on nearby fields and found runoff from the farm in her yard. She said neighbors have moved out because of the waste and because the odor was overwhelming. We almost never open the windows because it stinks so bad, she said.
Yeah, well, I think this article shows that while the laws aren't protecting people and that it's been put into the hands of environmental and other advocates, that the dairy industry isn't going away quietly. They will use, all the money that they can to fight this legislation, local legislation and town legislation, to get their own way.
Yes.
And I think, if this continues like this, what we're going to be seeing is not only what we're seeing now, which is like climate-based migration in the United States, we will be seeing agricultural migration because these CAFOs will be forcing people out.
Oh, yeah.
And then parts of our country will be nothing but CAFOs if we let this continue the way it's going. People will move out and they will just take over all the land. And we can't let that happen.
No.
We can't let that happen. Laws need to be passed to stop these CAFOs from growing and growing and growing.
Yes, they really do.
I mean, frankly, I want laws passed to stop them from existing.
Yeah, that'd be cool, but that's probably not going to happen in the foreseeable future.
No.
So at least let's regulate what we have and then demand that those regulations be upheld.
Yeah.
Because that tends to be a big problem as well. Even when there are restrictions and guidelines and such things in place, they're often not adhered to.
Yeah, that's the problem. The laws don't have any teeth.
Right.
And then when they do have teeth, people aren't upholding it.
Yeah.
Like they had a warrant. They didn't let them go in to count their cows. Someone should have gone to jail.
Yes. And this is not just an issue in Washington or Oregon or Wisconsin. This is an issue in every single agricultural state, including Ohio, Michigan, our own state of New York, in certain areas, certainly the southern East Coast, so the Carolinas, Georgia, Florida, Texas. Can you even imagine? So this is everywhere. Yeah.
There's another article that I wanted to refer to. We don't want to read the whole article, but like Sam said, this is something that's happening in many, many states. This is Michigan Supreme Court upholds state agencies' authority to pass stronger CAFO rules.
Oh, great.
So people are aware that this needs to happen. It's just like I said, these laws just need to have more teeth.
Yes. So by a 5-2 vote, the Michigan Supreme Court has upheld the right of a state regulator to impose more stringent rules on large livestock facilities to help protect Great Lakes water quality and the environment in general. All hail the Michigan Supreme Court.
Yeah.
I say.
Yeah.
The case centered around the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy's use of a general permit for stronger rules on CAFOs. The Michigan Farm Bureau, a half-dozen other agricultural groups, and more than 100 CAFOs had challenged conditions within the 2020 general permit, according to the court syllabus that was issued Wednesday.
So yeah, the states are fighting back. And if they don't, we're headed down a terrible, terrible road. Like I said, like we're already in the midst of a terrible housing crisis. If these farms just keep expanding and expanding, where are people going to go?
It's a good question.
I'm sure they want to move someplace where there aren't CAFOs. That's going to become harder and harder to do. And if you're looking for, like these people lived in a cul-de-sac community, if you're looking for that, that is going to become few and far between in areas where there's, wildlife and nature.
Yeah.
Because the farming community is taking over all of that land.
Or trying to, anyway.
Yeah. So if you live in a place where there are CAFOs near you, please find and join every advocate group that you can to fight the expansion or the addition of more CAFOs in your community. Because it's up to us. I mean, the laws even said it's up to us.
Always.
The laws aren't going to do it for us. Let us know if you live somewhere where there's CAFOs. We live in a pretty rural area, but thankfully there are no CAFOs around us. There is a lot of produce agriculture near us.
Particularly grape agriculture. Lots of vineyards.
Yeah, and north of us there is some dairy farming.
Yes.
But nothing on the scale of these farms.
No.
Thank God. Okay, well, I guess we will move on to this week's assignment, Restaurant SOS. This week's restaurant is the Firefly Cafe.
Firefly Cafe was nominated by Colleen Behrman, and they are located in Boyertown, Pennsylvania. Owners Michael and Lorianne share almost 40 years of vegetarianism and veganism between them and are raising a very healthy and energetic plant-based son. In 2016, they moved back to Lorianne's hometown of Boyertown from New York City, where Michael was born and raised. Their passion for health and wellness and the desire to promote diversity, inclusiveness, and a respect for all living things remain a driving force behind the Firefly brand. In their spare time, Michael and Lorianne love to pursue their creative passions of art, music, and plant wrangling, and they incorporate all of these things into the cafe. And each day, they post an updated menu.
Yeah, let's take a look at what the menu looks like today. Ooh, they have a breakfast sandwich.
Gotta love a good breakfast sandwich.
Breakfast Sammy, which is a just egg patty, sausage, and cheese on organic biscuits.
Hey.
And your choice of ketchup or chipotle mayo.
Right there, biscuits. Yeah. And even before we get to like the daily menu, I'm noticing the baked goods up at the top.
Yeah.
I'm seeing pumpkin scones and cinnamon sugar cruffins, which I can only imagine are a cross between a croissant and a muffin.
A cruffin.
I mean, I'm up for that.
I want a cruffin.
They've got pain au chocolat, they've got buttercream filled donuts, glazed donut twists, and apple streusel pies.
Ooh, I like a good streusel.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so they have bagels. They have the Just Egg Bagel Sandwich. They have avocado toast with all kinds of great stuff on it. They have, look at this, a vegan bologna, egg, and cheese. What is that? Tofu scramble, sweet bologna, and cheese on a toasted multi-grain roll with your choice of chipotle mayo, sriracha aioli, or ketchup. Served with a side of hydroponic greens or chips.
Nice.
This is a great little menu.
It is. And the menu is small, but I have a feeling it's a case of one of those, they do a few things really well.
Yeah. I mean, their breakfast menu is fantastic.
It really is.
I love when a vegan restaurant has a wonderful breakfast menu. And then they also have burgers, a black bean burger, wasabi mushroom burger. That sounds good. And it's their own house seitan. They also make a walnut and the lentil walnut patty. Wild rice bake. That sounds good. Barbecued chicken sandwich, because no vegan restaurant is complete without a barbecue chicken sandwich.
It's kind of true.
A mac and cheese burger? What? House black bean patty topped with mac and cheese, lettuce, and onion on a toasted organic multigrain roll. That sounds good.
It does.
Tofu parmesan sandwich, breaded and fried organic tofu topped with a marinara, butterhead mozzarella, and shredded cheese on an organic French bread.
Yeah, this sounds lovely. This sounds like a great little spot to just go grab breakfast or lunch.
Yeah.
They are located, in case you are in the Boyertown area, they are located at 12 North Reading Avenue in Boyertown, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and the pictures of the place, it looks really cute. And when they say plant wranglers, they're not lying. They have a lot of plants, tons of plants. I have a feeling you can purchase plants. There's so many of them.
There you go.
Yeah, they have like a whole shelf full of succulents, and it's just a really cute looking little place.
So check it out.
Yeah. Don't forget to send your favorite vegan restaurant. Let us know what you love about them, and we'll talk them up on the show. It's time for our favorite portion of the show.
Must be listener shout out time.
It's listener shout out.
Just want to give a shout out to all my fans watching. I love you guys. I love you.
This week's shout out goes to Chartreuse Chameleon.
Chameleon.
See, now, I love the name. I can't even tell you how much I love the
I
name.
have a feeling Chartreuse Chameleon is not this person's given name.
No, but they did comment on one of our earlier episodes, episode 101, where we talked about the death of Lolita, the orca that was held captive for more than 50 years. In case you were wondering, Lolita's body was cremated. Her ashes were sent back to the Lumi Nation. The Native American tribe held a private ceremony and spread her ashes in the Salish Sea, returning the orca to her home as they promised. So thank you for listening, Chartreuse Chameleon. Let us know your real name. Send us your t-shirt size and address so we can send you a CNC swag bag.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening to the show. And you can email us that information at compassionatecucumbers@gmail.com, or you can DM us on Instagram or Facebook, or use the text link at the top of our show notes. Send us a text, include your name and all that information.
And for the rest of you out there, if you want a listener shout out, please text, email, or DM us. Let us know what you think of the show and tell us a little bit about yourself. You can also nominate someone you love for a shout out. And don't forget that a shout out enters you into our Meeson Chef Knife giveaway later this year.
It's coming up.
It is. I'm thinking we're going to do that giveaway like the first show of December.
Yeah, it'll be
So in time for the holidays.
It'll be like a holiday thing.
Yeah.
And it'll be fun. We'll do like a random number generator.
Yes, we will.
And it'll be a good time.
Absolutely.
And now it's time to share our vegan org of the week. This week's vegan org is Socially Responsible Agriculture Project.
While not necessarily a vegan organization, they are fighting against CAFOs across the U.S. Their mission is through education, advocacy, and organizing. The SRAP collaborates with communities to protect public health, environmental quality, and local economies from the damaging impacts of industrial livestock production, and to advocate for a socially responsible food future. To learn more about their work, go to sraproject.org.
It's time to wrap this baby up. Just a few calls to action for you. Don't forget to send us your favorite vegan recipes and send us show ideas. Let us know you listen, all that stuff. Please join the Agriculture Fairness Alliance's Vegan Voter Hub. We always put the link in our show notes, so click that link and join the Voter Hub. And don't forget to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast app and subscribe to our YouTube. And if you can, leave us a review and a rating.
And with that, it's time to sign off. You have just listened to episode 160 of the Compassion and Cucumbers podcast, and there's nothing left to say but where cukes and compassion are always the fashion on the podcast.
Thanks, James.
Have a great week, everyone.
We'll talk to you next Tuesday.
We love you.
We do. Bye-bye.
The end.
If you'd like to support the Compassion and Cucumbers podcast, well, you can do that by hopping on over to our Patreon page and becoming a patron. We have all the recipes from our vegan kitchen series up there, and we'll be adding some patron-only episodes in the near future. So thank you for supporting us at whatever level that you choose, and thank you again for listening to Compassion and Cucumbers podcast.